Okay, so basically the cloud computing is very simple, meaning is, okay, even in our day-to-day life also, whoever not at all related to the IT mostly will also are part of this cloud computing. Okay, which means accessing the resources over the internet is called as a cloud computing. Okay, means we are accessing some resources through the internet. The very good example is Google Drive. So Google Drive, he is providing the service for you, and he is giving 15 GB of free space, and he is giving that service, and you are accessing it, okay, through the internet. So without internet there is no cloud computing. Okay, so we should have internet access. So even accessing the Google Drive through internet is also called as a cloud computing. Previously, whenever we used to carry any files, okay, any data, we should carry our pen drive, right? Pen drive or hard disk to store some data. But now if I put all my data in the Google Drive, can I access it from anywhere in the world? I can, but only thing I require is internet, right? So that is a change in the market. So to provide this service, back end Google Drive may having some big place, okay, where he is arranging all the servers. For each account, if he is giving 15 GB, means you may have multiple accounts, there is no restriction. So backend terabytes of storage he is maintaining for us to use it. So he is giving service to us, and we are using that service by using the internet. Okay, so this is the basic meaning. Now coming to the main topics. Okay, so here, before we go into the cloud computing, okay, to understand for everyone, let's say some of you, okay, as a common man, some of you got an idea that we should start business. Okay, maybe you are an engineering graduate, or maybe not engineering, some other education domain, you got an idea we should start a business called Ola. Assume there was no Ola concept previously, you got that idea. So if we have any cab service like this, if we have centralized app we can manage, so we can start this business. You got this idea but you don't know how to start it. So first thing what we are going to do, what we should have, first thing we should have that app should be get ready, right? So as a non-IT background, okay, I don't know how to create that app, I'm not going to create it. Even though if I'm a programmer, or if I'm from the CSE background or MCA background, I could not able to build that app. Okay, so if I'm from non-IT background, someone will invest on me based upon my idea, and we should go to some software company and we should give some money to them based upon our idea. They are going to build our app. It may take 5 lakhs rupees, 10 lakhs of rupees, and they are going to prepare that app based upon my requirement. Okay, so whenever they are preparing that app, they are going to use some programming languages. In the market we have lot of programming languages, okay, like PHP, Python, Java, .NET, okay, Ruby, HTML. Lot of programming languages are in the market. So what programming language they choose to develop that app? So assume they choose the Python or PHP. They choose this language and they build the app. Okay. Once they prepare the software, maybe it's came around 1 GB or 2 GB of size. Okay. Now what we need to do with this software? What I should do with that? Once the software is ready, we need to run that software on some hardware, right? So to run that software, so is it possible to run that software in my laptop or in my desktop? No, it is not possible, because your laptops or desktops is only for purpose of your personal use. You cannot run any high-end software inside that, because if you don't reboot your laptop for 2 or 3 days, it is going to the hung state slowly. It will perform very slowly. Then you can you run your business related applications inside that laptop? No, this hardware is not capable of running high-end softwares. So what I need to do? So in the market we have high-end servers, we call it as high-end hardwares. Okay, who is providing that one? IBM, HP, Dell, they are providing some high-end hardware. Okay, so which cost you around 5 lakhs of rupees one box. 10 lakhs of rupees. IBM is having very powerful boxes. Okay, so it's very costly, the boxes whatever they provide, which is having very high end hardware configuration. So we should buy some hardware, 3 or 4 hardware servers, and we should keep it in a one place. Which place? Can I keep it in my home? No, we should search a place in a such a way that we are going to get a redundancy power supply, and there should not be any kind of disturbance. Or for example, if heavy rainfall comes, water should not come into my building. Okay, it should not be any kind of disturbance. Okay, so I should search a place, I need to give advance to them, to that building, and I should place these servers. So once I place these servers inside that, the next thing what we need to do, you need to configure the networking for these servers, because the app which you are installing, the whole app, everyone is going to access through their mobile, through the internet. So these servers without connecting the networking, then how can they access? It's not possible. So we should connect it to the network. Then who is going to tell all these things? I don't have this knowledge. I bought this software from some company. Then who is going to tell me whether I should go with the IBM server or HP server? First of all, I don't know all these things. So we will contact the infrastructure engineers. Okay, infra engineers or architects we can call it as. Okay, so they are going to suggest, based upon what kind of programming language they use to build your app. Based on that, they'll suggest, okay, go with IBM, HP or Dell. All are same in the sense, all hardware is compatible to run all kind of languages. It depend upon your budget. If you want to go with the IBM, then budget is very high. Okay, you can go with the HP servers. Okay, so they will suggest HP, and you need to design a network. Okay, you should have a switch, and from the switch, cable should be connected to your hardware machines, and this switch will be connected to the router. This all networking stuff will be taken care by the another team. Okay, and again this router will connect to the ISP provider, internet service provider, to go outside access, and from internet, if anyone trying to access, to give access to them. Okay, so once network this all is designed, should install the operating system. So how many of you know how many type of operating systems are there in the market? So how many operating systems? I think those are not from the infrastructure background, they might know only Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, these operating systems, right? So basically we have two types of operating systems. Okay, server OS, we call it as a client operating system. Okay, server operating system, we have Windows and Unix. Okay, client operating system, we have Windows. So in the Windows, those are not from the infrastructure background. Okay, Windows means Windows 2016, Windows I think 2012, okay, 2008, 2003. These are the versions of the Windows operating system. These are called as a server operating system. Okay, and coming to the Unix. Okay, coming to the Unix, we have different flavors in the Unix. Okay, AX, Solaris, HPUX, and Linux. So these are all the Unix flavor server operating systems. Okay, initially Unix kernel was built. With that kernel, IBM took that kernel source code and they built their own operating system called AX, and Solaris Sun Microsystems built their own operating system called Solaris. HP company built their own operating system HPNix, and Linux is an individual person called Linus Torvalds. He took the same source code of this Unix and he built Linux operating system. Okay, so these are called as a different flavors of Unix. Again in AX, same like Windows, we have versions. AX, I think right now it's 8. Okay, I'm not in touch with AX. Maybe it's AX8 is the latest version. Previously 7, 6, 5, lot of versions were there. Solaris also previously it was 10, 11, 10, 9, 8, the old versions. Linux is also same thing. Right now it's running with a 7 version. Okay, so these have a lot of versions. So again, depends upon your budget. Okay, these guys will decide which operating system you should install. So previously, lot of companies used to suggest AX, Solaris, HP, Unix, but now these operating systems are not in the market. Like no one is preferring to go with these operating systems. Already, whoever is having existing this operating system, they are migrating to the Linux. Okay, because Linux is open source, free of cost. You are getting. That is the reason they are want to save lot of money. So in the cloud also, you will have only Linux operating system and Windows operating system. You will not have this one. So assume I selected the like engineer selected Linux operating system. So in these machines we need to install the operating system Linux. Now once the operating system is installed, you need to install this software, whatever the software you took from the software company prepared. You need to install and configure that software. So who is going to take care of all these things? Actually this is called as a data center. Okay, so we call this concept is called as a data center, where your servers are available and switches, routers are available, this complete infrastructure. And inside this, to run these servers, you should maintain the some temperature. So for that purpose you should fix ACs inside this room. Okay, otherwise this will go beyond the temperature and it will become heat and it will crash. Okay, so this room should maintain with some temperature ACs. Okay, and inside this physical box you are going to get only 200 GB or 300 GB hard disk for storage purpose, and that 200 GB 300 GB hard disk is used completely for the operating system purpose. Operating system will not take complete space, but that hard disk is not going to be useful for another purpose. It is going to be completely for the operating system purpose. Okay, then where can I install this software which is created? So in the real time, this traditional data center is going to have storage box. One big box will be there. Inside that, lot of hard disks will be there. Okay, so this is like a external hard disk. We call it as an external storage. Okay, so this storage box will be connected to each and every machine in your environment, and from this storage box logically the storage guys will allocate storage to these machines. Means it looks like physically the storage is available here, but it's a logical one. Physically from this hard disk through the cables they will allocate 100 GB, 200 GB, 300 GB, depends upon the requirement they will allocate. With that you are going to create partitions. Like in Windows we create D drive, E drive, F drive. Assume this is a one of the Windows server. C is completely taken by the internal hard disk. If you want to create D, E, F, then the storage box will allocate storage to you, and with that you can able to create more partitions. Like whenever you attach external hard disk, it will take one free letter, whatever the alphabet is free, it will take and it will show like a another partition in your laptop or desktop. Same way here also you can do that. Okay, so why we are discussing all these things? Because first of all, before going into the directly cloud, you should understand the traditional data center setup. So whichever business they want to start, any online, whether it's a Flipkart, Amazon, this thing, Netflix, Amazon Prime, okay, lot of apps now we can see, streaming apps we can see, lot of businesses, okay, everyone should follow this setup itself. This is called as a data center, and inside this you are going to maintain physical servers and network switches, routers, and the storage boxes. All these hardware equipments is called as an infrastructure. That's why whoever working on this, let's say this operating system guys, is called as an OS guys, for example, if I'm working as an AX administrator, I call as an Unix admin. If it is Windows, means Windows admin. Okay, and whoever managing this network related stuff, they'll call as a network team or network admin. And this box whoever managing, they are called as a storage admin. Okay, so like this, to maintain this infrastructure, we should have lot of teams. Each individual team maintain their own respective services. Okay, and there will be separate monitoring team will be there. So who is going to monitor all the services are working or not? Backup team will be there. Daily, whatever the partitions, okay, transactions are happening, they are going to take the backup of those partitions. Okay, and a database team. Obviously, database team will be there. So these many teams will be available to manage this one. So depends upon your environment. If they are running Linux, so Linux admins will be there. If it is an AX admins will be there. So initially, whenever I start my business, at that time I will start with 3 servers. Slowly my business is increasing. Lot of users are trying to access. Then my servers count will also increase from 3 to 30, 30 to 300, 300 to 500, like that it will increase. Because if business is increasing, backend servers also should increase. So this is called a complete traditional data center. Okay. Now comes to the cloud computing. Okay. Now as a startup company, I started this Ola business in case my bad if it did not click in the market. So I invested 20 lakhs of rupees over here for this infrastructure. Okay, for buying these high-end servers, networks, switches, routers, everything, the storage box. Okay, everything I bought it. This ACs, and I need to recruit a lot of engineers. So around it cost me 20 lakhs of rupees. After 5 months, 6 months, 1 month, still it did not click in the market. It's became flop. So whatever I invested this 20 lakhs rupees is wasted, right? In case they suggested me AX operating system or HP Unix operating system, I need to pay licensing to the vendor. All these are wasted. I'm not at all using. Okay. So to overcome this, now cloud came into the picture. So in the cloud, you no need to purchase anything. Okay. You no need to search for any room. You don't need to buy anything. Once your software is ready, very simple, go to the any cloud computing vendor site and you can create your own infrastructure through the internet. Okay, you want server, okay, this is a capacity, this server is capacity is maybe 16 CPUs and 32 GB of RAM, all these three. So log into any of the vendor who is providing cloud computing service, and you can create these 3 servers through the internet, and you can create this network, switches, routers, everything is a virtual you can create. And you can whatever is required, okay, whatever is required for you for these 3 servers, 100 GB, 200 GB, immediately you can create. This complete setup will be available in the background of the site, and you are accessing this complete setup, okay, through the website. So cloud vendor is providing same data center setup in the background. Lot of customers like me will access that, and they'll have lot of servers, lot of storage, everything they have, everything is maintaining. You are taking on a rent basis. So I'm going to create these servers, I'm going to use storage capacity how much I want from them. Okay, so I see for 5 months, 6 months, if it is working, then I will increase my business. If it is not working, then immediately I'll remove. Just thousands of rupees I may lose for 5 months, 6 months, but here you are losing lakhs of rupees. Okay, so that is a difference. That is the reason every startup company nowadays, okay, they can go and start in the cloud, any cloud. Okay, and not only the startup companies, existing companies already from long, very long, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whoever is running the same kind of setup, they are also migrating to the cloud. Okay, so that is the difference between this traditional data center and this one. Why existing companies also migrating to their, they're removing their complete setup and they're creating everything in the cloud, okay, through the internet, which is providing by the vendor, and they're decommissioning, removing everything, this complete setup. What is the purpose of doing that? We'll come to know. Okay, so this is about like basic infrastructure details, like what is traditional data center. Because while learning this course, we are going to discuss each and every this topic. About this we have one service, about this we have one service, about network we have one service. These are all the things how to manage here we are going to discuss. Okay, so first of all we'll see benefits of cloud computing. See, before itself I want to clarify one thing. Cloud computing is like a generic word. For example, car is a generic word. Who is providing car? Basic car means what? If you remove the brand name, car means it should have four wheel steering, okay, gears, okay, all this basic. But different companies are providing that car. Okay, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Honda, BMW, Benz, everyone is providing car, but what is the difference? Each one is providing in a different way. Some may use for luxury, some may use for budget. Why Maruti is famous for us? It's a budget car. Okay, that is the difference between each and every company vendor. Here also, cloud computing is a concept which I discussed now. This concept is providing by different companies, vendors. AWS is one of the vendor, Azure, Microsoft Azure is one of the vendor, Google Cloud is one of the vendor. Everyone is providing the same. They are arranging big data centers, and that data centers they are providing access through the internet, through one website. Whoever want log into their site and they can take the resources. Everyone is providing servers, everyone is providing networking, same thing. But there is difference. Someone is charging very less, someone is charging more, someone is giving very good service, someone may not be good service. That is the difference between each vendor. Okay, everyone is in the same platform, same thing they are providing, same service they are giving. As a customer, I will decide which one is good for me, for my environment. I'll choose that particular vendor. Okay, so first of all, right now we are discussing about the what is the in the cloud computing concept. If you take benefits of cloud computing, self-service provisioning. Provision means what? Allocating or creating whatever you want, you can provision yourself. So as a customer, whatever the things I want to run my environment application, for example this Ola application, what are the things I want, I can do myself, I can create myself by logging into their any of the vendor site. I can create my own based upon the demand, means how much I require, only that thing I am going to create it. I'm not going to waste anything. Scalability and elasticity, this is very very good feature. Okay, scalability and elasticity in the sense, let's say suppose this is a traditional data center. Okay, so here I announced a sale, maybe this Dasara or Diwali, I announced a sale. Roam anywhere in the city, maybe it's Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, major cities. If you take, roam anywhere in the city, it's a 50 rupees only. If I give an offer like this, then regularly daily basis, on an average, assume 10,000 users are accessing in Hyderabad city. Due to this offer, maybe mostly most of the users are going to access. So my servers, whatever I arranged for, they are enough capable for only on the daily basis whatever the load is coming. But on the sale date, if the lot of users are coming and accessing, okay, then the servers are not enough capable to handle that much of load. It will crash. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to arrange few more servers. Okay, assume I arrange two more servers, assuming that five more thousand users are going to come. So these servers I need to buy 1 month before. I need to arrange network setup, everything I need to do, and I need to install the operating system, install the applications, and application team need to make it ready so that if the load is coming high, this will also share the load. After finishing the offer, what I need to do with these servers? Again, based upon the regular load, these servers are enough to handle that. Then these are sitting idle, unnecessary. I'm wasting some 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs of rupees just because of 2 days, 3 days. Suppose this is another disadvantage. Another one is beyond my expectation, 20,000, 30,000 people are accessing. Then these two servers also not enough to handle the load. Then still users will face lot of problems. Like previously, whenever we used to access Flipkart on the Big Billion Day sale day, earlier it used to give lot of errors. Okay, whenever we used to access, it will not come. After that, it will show sale is completed. Okay, sold out things we can see. Or even when we see our exam results in the internet website, so whenever we immediately if we see, it will give error, because wherever that site is hosted, the server is not able to handle these many requests at a time. After 2 hours 3 hours, if you see, you can see your results, because at a time lot of people trying to access. So backend wherever it is hosted, it should handle that much of load. So same here also. So again, even though I bought two servers, still users were facing issues, because I was just analyzing, okay, this much of load may come, but beyond that if come, even I could not able to handle that, it's wasted, right? But coming to the cloud, okay, so let's say the same three servers are running. We have a concept called auto scaling concept. If the load is coming high, then automatically it is going to create more servers for you. Okay, until unless your load is stopped, it is going to stop creating servers. If these three servers are busy, it will create another one, this will create one, another one, like that it can go up to any extent. Okay, so that we need to configure initially only. So it can go any extent and it will create. Once the load is becoming normal, slowly it is reducing, then it is going to be reduce the servers. Okay, so what are the previously was there three servers, only three servers will be there, remaining will be terminated, and you are going to get bill only for these servers for maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe thousands of rupees. You are paying less amount, and customers are not facing any kind of performance issues. Okay, so that is called as a scalability. Scale up and scale down, increase and decrease based upon the demand. Pay per use, it's like our power bill. How we are going to get power bill? Whatever you are using electricity in your house, AC, geyser, fridge, okay, TV, whenever you power on, your meter is going to rotate. If you powered off, then it is going to stop. Same way here also. Suppose your business is running only Monday to Friday, you don't want your server should run on the weekends, no business is running, then you can power off your machines, you can stop getting the bill for those 2 days also. You don't need to pay completely for 24 hours. Whenever you power off, you can stop the server and it is going to reduce the bill. And no capital expenditure, no need to invest single rupee. Once your software is ready, then you can go and log in and you can start your business, and just you can have some resources for you to manage that. That's it. You don't need to invest anything single rupee. Deploy projects faster. So projects are getting deployed faster nowadays. Why? See, when I was using iPhone 4, I used it for almost 4 years. Okay, after that iPhone 5 came, after that 6, 7, 8. Okay, very quickly products are launching nowadays. Now I am using OnePlus 3. Okay, after OnePlus 3, within 2 years, OnePlus I think 4 or 5, now it's 6 is coming. How come it is? And previously when we are using Windows operating system as a client one, we used XP for almost 10 years. Okay, that I can see still in some of the internet cafes they are running XP only. So XP run for 10 years, and after that Vista 7, 8, 9, 10. Nowadays, from last 5 years onwards, if you see, technology is growing very fast. How come it is possible? Because projects backend testing R&D is finishing very soon. That is the reason they are launching every product in within 1 year, right? How come it is possible? Because in the traditional data center, if application users are asking some hardware for you for to do some testing, okay, to launch new application, you need to buy, you need to raise a call with HP or IBM, and they are going to you need to pay money and they will deliver the hardware to your data center. And once it is delivered, then you need to configure it, your engineer should configure it, and once it is done, OS team should install the operating system, and again they will hand over to some other team, storage team will allocate storage, and then application team will come and they'll do testing. It will take lot of time, at least 15 to 20 days or 1 month of time to get one server. But now in the cloud, immediately within 1 minute, you are going to allocate the server to the apps team, and they are going to deploy, and immediately they can remove also. On fly, they can do whatever they want and they can delete whenever they want. Okay. So if work is moving faster, then projects also going to deploy very fast. That is the reason nowadays technology is also growing very speed. Lower maintenance cost. I told you existing companies also migrating, not only the startup. Why? Because existing companies, apart from, if you take Linux, apart from Linux, assume AX, Solaris, HPNix if you are running, every year you need to pay the licensing fees for them for support. If anything issue comes in the AX, if you want to raise a call with the IBM, they will ask you the some number, customer support number, whenever you are purchasing that one. So you need to tell that so that they will support you. So if you have 50 OS, you should have that support. And for hardware also, if you are using AX, then obviously you are using the IBM hardware. So you should have support for IBM hardware also. If you have 100 servers, maybe yearly you are going to get 3 or 4 servers issue, but you should take support for all the 100 servers. Okay, so you should take support every year. You need to take this, like this, lot of licensing problems. Okay, lot of licensing you need to take every year. And not only this thing, resources. Here we have Unix team, Windows team, network team, storage team, monitoring team, backup team, database team, Citrix team. Okay, in again in database there will be separate teams. MySQL team separate, MS SQL team separate, Oracle DB team separate. Lot of databases are there. In Unix team, again AX, whoever knows AX, they are separate. Linux is separate, HPNix is separate. So like this, lot of resources are there. But once coming to the cloud, you don't need these many resources. This single box is for storage team. A 10th class guy also can configure storage to your instances. That much easy inside the cloud. Then what is the requirement of storage guys here? Anyone can do. So here overall, if 100 members are there as a team members to manage this environment, 20 to 15 or maximum 20 members is enough to manage this environment. So you can do lots of cost cutting on the resources, and here licensing, maintenance, this complete data center maintenance, everything is very costly. So they'll do a lot of calculation and they'll check, if I run the environment over here, how much I'll get annual maintenance, and here how much we are getting based upon that. That is the reason they are moving into the cloud. Okay, so maintenance is also very low, because here you don't need to pay any licensing. Even though if you are taking Oracle database for example, you don't need to pay any licensing. Whatever the time you are using it, for that time they will charge you. Okay, and here in the cloud we don't have AX Solaris HPNix operating system, only Linux and Windows, that's it. Redundancy and high availability. Redundancy and high availability. In this traditional data center, assume these are 3 critical servers by OLAP. Assume this server contains share, mini, micro. This contains rental, outstation, and this contains some other things. Okay, if any of the server goes down, okay, if this is goes down, maybe my app is not going to work, and it is going to take 3 hours or 4 hours of time. Then till that time, lot of users is facing issues, and they will switch to Uber, obviously. So if regular basis, if facing lot of issues, customers will feel like, okay, Ola will be always in a maintenance mode or maybe in error mode. So they'll switch to Uber. Next time onwards, again, they'll not search for Ola also. Directly, they'll go to the Uber. So customer satisfaction is nowadays very, very important. The service providers should bother about the customer satisfaction. So in this scenario, what I need to do, I'm going to have another server, and we are going to configure cluster, okay, which is called as an high availability. If something happens to this server, your apps will run from this server. Okay, this is called as an high availability. So once this is resolved, again the applications will move from here to here. Okay, but to maintain this, I need to buy another server with the same hardware configuration, and I need to buy that cluster software. Okay, it is not a free. Again, I need to buy that software. But coming to this cloud, you don't need to worry about that. Once you created a server, you can achieve the high availability with the same price. If you are paying 10 rupees per hour for this server, in the same 10 rupees only you are going to get another server in case this is having some problem. Okay, so we can achieve high availability also inside the cloud with very less price. Automatic software updates and disaster recovery. In the traditional data center, these OS guys, database guys need to update their softwares regularly. Every 3 months manually they need to update. We call it as a patching. Okay, to avoid any bugs, vulnerability issues. Okay, so to do that, we need to patch our each and every Linux machine. Like in Android also, we'll get system updates, right? In our phone, every 2 months or 3 months, we'll get system updates. What it will show? It will give latest features and bug fixes, and to avoid any vulnerabilities. These three things will be there. So to avoid this, we need to keep it up to date our machines. Okay, but in the cloud you don't need to do anything. Everything is taken care by the AWS only. They are going to patch from their end. And disaster recovery. Disaster recovery, for example, recently in the Kerala, a lot of floods came, right? Due to that, water came inside to homes, offices, everywhere. In the same scenario happens to my data center in Hyderabad. In the lot of water came. Okay, in Hyderabad we don't have seashore. Water will not come. Any cyclone comes. Okay, in that scenario, if something happens to my data center, or maybe this is in Chennai or Kerala, a lot of water came inside it, then what we need to do? My data center is collapsed, my business is lost. Again, to build this, it may take 3 or 4 months. Till that time everyone will forget my business. Okay, again I need to promote, like now how Food Panda is trying to promote themselves. Whenever Zomato came into the picture, Food Panda, no one is thinking about Food Panda. So again they need to invest crores of rupees to come into the picture. Same way, I need to invest lot of money after building my environment. Okay, now I need to promote myself by giving lot of ads, by giving offers. Then only people will turn to me. So to overcome this, in real time, we'll have a concept called disaster recovery. So the same kind of setup we'll have in the different location. Okay, if this is in Kerala, this will be in the Hyderabad, or maybe Chennai, Kolkata, Gurgaon. Okay, there will be zones will be there. In India, R1 zone, R2 zone will be there. Okay, so Hyderabad is in the second place. Okay, Delhi, I think Delhi is in the first place. Okay, means any nature calamities happens, then it can handle that. Okay, the place wherever we are putting this data centers. So we have disaster recovery. Same kind of setup should be available here, and it will be sync. Okay, so whatever the servers we have here, also we have the same thing. It will be in sync. Whenever it is some completely collapsed, you can start from here. Okay, so you can start your business from here. This is called high availability within the data center. And this is called disaster recovery. Means a complete data center having some problem, from here, from different data center, you should start your business. It may take 1 hour or 2 hours of time, but you can start here. But again, this is costly for me to maintain this. I don't know when this is going to be used, but still I need to maintain this. Okay, but here in the cloud, you no need to worry about that. We have a concept called availability zone. So with that, you can able to achieve this feature also with very less price. Okay, so these are the benefits of this, okay, cloud computing. And we have different types of cloud computing: public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So very simple. Public, everyone knows difference between public and private, right? Private means, for example, I have my own park in my house. Okay, that is called as a my private park. Public park means anyone can go and access it. Okay, you can go and sit, you can do jogging, you can do yoga, whatever you want in the public place. Everyone is accessible. Same way, public cloud means vendors are providing infrastructure to you. Anyone can come and they can create their own infrastructure. Okay, let's say this is one customer. Okay, this is ABC customer and this is CDE customer. Lot of customers, different customers will log into their site and they create their own setup for them and they'll run it. Anyone, it's accessible to anyone, and these guys are providing infrastructure. Yes, someone want to speak? Okay, so any customer can go and access these resources and they can create their own. So backend they are maintaining huge servers, huge storage box, huge network, everything. So they are accommodating for their customers. So this is called as a public cloud. Okay, so you are not creating anything, you are just using someone else, taking as a rent basis, you are creating through online and accessing it through online. Okay, so they are providing these data centers, they are providing this infrastructure for you. That is a public cloud. So public cloud vendors are, as I said, Amazon, IBM, okay, SoftLayer or Blue Cloud, and lot of customers are there. Google Cloud, Azure, CenturyLink, Rackspace. These all are called as a public cloud vendors. Means they all are providing service to the customers by arranging the data center from their end, and they are giving access through the website. And private cloud. What is private cloud? Private cloud means I'm not going to these guys. I have my own infrastructure. This is my existing data center. I don't want to migrate to here, but I want same kind of setup should be established here. Okay, means my own resources, my own data center, everything is mine. But instead of connecting to individual machine, installing operating system, managing individual machine, I'll install this private cloud software in one machine, and this machine will be connected to all the hardware in the background, all the physical machine, storage, everything. It's plain. From here I'm going to create same like how I'm going to create here through website. From here I'm going to create, okay, I want this capacity of server, I want this capacity of storage, I want this is the network. From here I'm going to create, not directly connecting network and creating the network. Okay, so these all devices will be connected and I'm going to manage from here. So what is the advantage of doing this is you can save licensing of virtualization. Basically, slowly you'll come to know, whoever don't know about virtualization, it's a virtualization technology. Dividing one physical box into logically multiple machines is called as a virtualization. Okay, so to save the virtualization VMware licensing, we can create our own private cloud. Because this private cloud software, we are going to get some software. So in the market we have OpenStack and CloudStack. Even I'm OpenStack certified. I completed OpenStack and I certified in the OpenStack also. It's a private cloud. So you need to install this software inside this, and this software is going to get one URL, dashboard URL. It's a private one. Means private means within your network only it is accessible. If you come and access through the internet, it will not access. With that URL, same however you are doing here, same you can do, but only thing is here you are using some other hardware, someone else is giving the hardware, and here your own hardware you are creating like a, I want 16 GB RAM and this much of CPU, I want this much of network, I want this much of storage. Everything will be virtualized and you can use it from this particular dashboard. That is a private. Why we use, as I told, these guys don't believe on the public cloud vendors, because I don't want to put my complete data confidential inside someone else servers. So I want to manage my own, but I want to save the licensing cost. That's why I'm using this one. And hybrid cloud is combination of these two, public cloud and hybrid cloud. Okay, or maybe your traditional data center to the public cloud is called as an hybrid cloud. So these are the three types of clouds are available in the market. So we are focusing on the, we are learning AWS in the, it's called as a public cloud. So AWS is a public cloud. We are not learning private cloud. If you want to learn OpenStack course, we should go to the Red Hat training centers and we should learn private cloud. Okay, but we are learning public cloud, which is AWS. So these public cloud vendors are providing services. What kind of service you want? Okay, like we see, right, in a car also we can see normal model to high end model. Same i20 car if you take, you will get high end and basic model also. Same way here also these guys are providing different services if you take any cloud computing vendor. And this one packaged software, if you see here, this is everything is like a traditional data center. Networking part, storage part, servers, virtualization of servers, operating system management, middleware software, runtime, database, applications, everything in the data center you are going to manage. But if you come to the public cloud, if you want only infrastructure as a service, means as I told you, infrastructure means these things. Okay, these servers, network switches, routers, storage boxes, all these things called infrastructure. If you want only this thing infrastructure, then you can create only servers and remaining part you need to manage. Okay, this is going to manage by you, middleware, runtime, database, but you will no need to have any data center because servers are going to create from the cloud vendor, and installing the operating system and installing the middleware, maintaining the middleware, application database is managing by you. You means you should have your own team, they are going to do that. If you are using platform as a service, then even middleware runtime is also managing by the AWS or any vendor. Only database and application you need to manage. Means you should have only application guys who will connect to that applications and they will manage. Okay, if it is a Ola, so application guys will connect to the applications which are created in the AWS or any cloud, and they are going to manage it. Okay, and software as a service in the sense, you are not going to go to any software company to give the to build the software. These guys will only give that software. You are just having one call center and you are using that software and you are running your business. If anything comes problem with this software, you are going to raise a case with the vendor. Okay, so he is going to solve you. For example, this go to meeting is providing by someone else. Okay, I am paying monthly fees and I am using it. This is called as a software as a service. Where he is running? He is running in the AWS cloud. You know that this go to meeting is also running in the AWS cloud. My all the recording sessions are storing in one service called S3 service. I will show you once I start classes. So this recording sessions is storing in the S3 service of the AWS. Okay, so he is giving service to me and I'm using it. Okay, same way software as a service means the complete they are going to take care and I'm just paying it. And if any issues comes, I'm not going to troubleshoot, my team not going to troubleshoot, I don't have any application team, I have only call center team and they are using this app and they are managing it. And if any issues come, software updates, anything whatever you want, they are taking care. So depends upon what kind of service you want, we can choose from the cloud vendor. So till now we are discussing about what cloud computing. So now comes into the picture, who is providing these cloud computing services. So leaders in the market is AWS and Microsoft. So these two companies are leading in the market, okay, for public cloud. So AWS is number one. Why? Because this is available since 2006 and these guys invented these cloud computing concepts. Okay, so that is the reason they are leading. Not only that reason, they are maintaining. Okay, they are giving tough competition to remaining vendors also. They are not lacking behind. Okay, compared to Microsoft, they are giving, they are implementing new things every 1 week. I'm going to get recent announcements from AWS. I can see lot of changes. Okay, and Microsoft is also giving very good competition. And another advantage for Microsoft is Microsoft is having lot of other products like Office 365, Windows operating system, Microsoft database they have. Okay, and what else? Microsoft operating system, like this lot of products they have. So he will attract the customer. If you come to my cloud to run your environment, I'm going to give database free or this free, that thing is free. He can attract customers in this way. That's why lot of customers are preferring to the Microsoft Azure. And AWS doesn't have any other products apart from this cloud, but still they are giving very good service. And slowly nowadays people are trying to use Google Cloud also, because Google is having a lot of money. Within less time he can come and he can give very good competition to these guys also. But as of now, these two are leaders in the market, and these are some other vendors providing the same features. Okay, IBM Software, VMware, CenturyLink, Rackspace, these are some other vendors. So AWS is the leader. That's why everyone is looking towards to learn AWS. Very few people are trying to learn Azure. Okay, because lot of companies are preferring AWS to migrate. Why? Because Linux operating system will run very good on the Amazon Linux compared to the Microsoft. If you want to run lot of freeware tools, in DevOps we have lot of freeware tools. If you want to run your tools applications, then Linux is very good for that, for open source tools. That's the reason AWS is becoming very famous, and they are giving good support and good service, very user friendly. So AWS introduction and architecture. So tomorrow we'll discuss about completely AWS introduction and architecture. Okay. So in AWS, whenever we log in, we can see services, how many services they are providing. They are providing almost 110 services. In the last year, whenever I started teaching course, at that time only 54 was there. But within 1 year, they increased 50 more services. Now around 110 services are available. Each service is for different purpose. Let's say if you talk EC2, EC2 is to create servers. If you want to create servers, you can create EC2. S3 is for storage, backup storage. Okay. RDS is for database. Okay. CloudWatch is to monitor your EC2 instances, means your virtual machines, your servers. CloudFormation is for automation purpose. CloudTrail is for auditing purpose. Okay. So like this, we have lot of services. Among this, we are going to learn Certified Solutions Architect Associate. Okay. We in the AWS we have 5 certification levels. So whoever comes from non-IT background, IT background, anyone who want to start the AWS, this is the first stage, Certified Solutions Architect Associate, which we are going to learn. Okay. If you are a programmer, .NET programmer, Java programmer, then you can start with the Certified Developer Associate. Because to do this, you should have programming knowledge. SDKs we use, okay, APIs, lot of things will be used inside this. So you should have programming knowledge. So this is for programmers, developers. And non-programmers, we'll start with this one, Architect Associate, and we can go with the Architect Professional. This is the advanced one. This is a like stage 1, stage 2. Okay. So we are going to cover almost 14 to some 15 services. I think everyone got my course content, right? So inside that, whatever the topics I provided, we are going to cover. And this course is for 30 days, means daily 1 hour, or sometimes it may go up to 1 hour 15 minutes, 1 hour 20 minutes, not more than 1 hour 30 minutes. Mostly it will be 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes only. Okay. So daily Monday to Saturday classes will be there. Only holidays Sunday and any main occasional festivals like Dasara, okay, and Diwali. Apart from that, small festivals, I don't take any leave. And once the batch is started, I'm going to create a group, and we can interact inside that group. And in this course, I'm going to provide you exams dumps, and I'm not going to give any guarantee that you are going to pass, because I can give you the latest dumps. The problem is, if you're not prepared well, or maybe suddenly when you go and write the exam at that time the pattern is changed, then if the pattern is changed, that is the problem. So I'm not going to assure you, give assurance that you are going to pass, but I can give you the latest dumps whenever we get the latest dumps. And I will give you the interview questions. I collected a lot of questions from my previous batches, guys, and I prepared a document. I can share those questions to you, and I'll give sample resumes of AWS, how it looks like. And once you prepare, I can validate whether this resume is okay or not. This thing I can do it for you. And as I told you in the mail also, the course fees is just a 3,000. And don't assume that, okay, if I'm charging 3000, the content or the teaching wise it will be less. It's not like that, because I'm not doing any kind of promotions. I'm not investing a single rupee to teach this. That is the reason I'm charging very less amount. Okay, most of the guys referrals are from the Facebook groups I'm going to get. So I'm not investing, that's why I'm not charging 10,000 12,000 rupees for AWS course. Okay, if you go to IntelliPath, Edureka, or Simply Learn, or any other Visual Path, any other, if you take, they'll charge 12,000 15,000 for online courses. Okay, same content. And I'm going to share the recording sessions daily basis. I'll create a Google Drive URL, and daily, once the class is finished, I'm going to upload the today's session immediately, maybe 3 or 4 hours. Within 3 or 4 hours, I'll upload inside that Google Drive, and that is a lifetime access. You can access them anytime, and you can go through that. Whoever missing the class, they can go through that video on the same day itself to attend the next class. Okay, you are going to get that videos. So this is from my end. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
You explained about the certified solutions architect associate and as well as a
Yes.
developer associate. What about the SysOps administrator associate? Who is the responsible for it?
See, sysops also you can do, but market sysops means only 1 year, 2 years experience. If you want to keep, then you can go and keep the sysops. You can do, and whatever